We are now well into the transition from summer to autumn, and although this year it seems to be all turning a little bit slower than usual here in the UK, it's still by far my favourite time to be out with my camera, or cameras, because actually I have two with me, my GFX 50R and that 150 megapixel Phase One. But it's not cameras that get me excited, it's the transformation of the landscape. You see, I've come back to a place that you will have seen many times on this channel. It's not epic, dramatic, or necessarily awe-inspiring. It's actually small, quiet, understated, and anonymous. And when I shoot here, I'm at peace and completely engaged with the landscape. The very landscape that is transforming from growth to decay as each day passes by. Welcome to autumn in the Lake District. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another video. And today, we are jumping straight into a photograph. I've only just left my van and come to an area that I know well, an area that I often come to in autumn time. And this small group of birch trees just caught my eye. I think I've probably photographed them before, but from an entirely different angle. But just as they stand alone in peak bracken, I like to call it, which is this beautiful golden rusty bracken where they are rich and vibrant, but they have yet to collapse and die. So yeah, I don't know, a very simple, straightforward shot. I'm not going to waffle on too long. Yeah, we'll just get the long lens out, quick shot, and move on. So I'm just adding on my polarizer. At this time of year, a polarizer makes such a huge difference just because it takes all of the glare off the colourful leaves. And when you've got glare on the colourful leaves, essentially you're looking at a washed out kind of reflection of the sky, whereby you lose all the colour. But by cutting off that glare, you get really deep, rich colours in all of the foliage. So hopefully this is going to come across on camera, but you can see this is fairly little polarisation. If I spin it and dial in more, do you see that? Do you see the colour change? We'll go back to little, a lot, little, a lot, and just look at the colour of the leaves and see how rich and brown those leaves become. So there we go, the benefits of using a polarizer. So I'm going to focus on the centre tree here, make sure that's nice and sharp. I'm at f5.6 because I want to give this quite a soft look. I want the trees to be sharp, but everything else to be soft. I'm for a 1-to-1 square composition, and that is my shot. A nice, simple vignette of a group of birch trees standing in beautiful golden bracken. Funny because it's the middle of October and you'd expect it to be quite cold here in the UK, but actually, I'll tell you what, we must be pushing 18 degrees. It's not sunny, but it's really humid. Just a quick image that might not be that special, but again, caught my eye, so I'm just giving it a quick, quick going over, quick shoot. So just kind of walking in this little valley here, and on the other side of the valley, noticed just, it's so simple, just a nice distribution of birch trees. Some are more yellow than others. So it's just, again, it's like a palette of colours. Yeah, I don't know about this shot, to be honest with you, but I think it's important to always go after anything that does pique your curiosity. I mean, this is a nice scene of the birch trees on the adjacent hill here, and definitely worth shooting. Is it going to be a portfolio shot? No, but what's important is that you practice your photography as often as you can, which means following your curiosity. So if something piques your interest, shoot it. Look at it sort of study it in a way, figure out what it is that piqued your interest. And the more you do this, the more you get out there and practice photography, the better you become at recognizing compositions and images that a lot of other people might walk past. And that's a good skill to have, but it does take a while and a lot of practice to get there. I mean, I'm still not there yet, but coming out and shooting stuff like this definitely helps. And what caught my attention here is, I suppose it's the colour, but it's also the contrast. So the birch trees almost look like matchsticks, like little matchsticks on the distant hill. And yeah, it was all right. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, as per usual. So now a short message from the sponsor of this video. The sponsor is the solarfund.org. Solarfund are a not-for-profit UK-based company who invest in solar projects around the UK. And they take donations. So if you were to pledge to this website, 80% of that would go into funding a solar project in the UK. So buying more solar panels, installing them, and that kind of thing. Like, for example, if you were to donate £2.50, you would offset your carbon footprint by about the equivalent of a 325-mile car journey. And that is no bad thing. So if you want to know more about this or learn more about this and you want to make a donation, then go to solarfund.org and I will make sure that I stick a link in the description. For now, I'm going to finish my tea and, and pray for some better light. 'Cause at the minute, the conditions are incredibly flat, but you know, we can but hope. So I have been photographing a lot of more abstract images, you know, those intimate details. But hey, something grabs your attention, shoot it. That was my my rule, right? Now, I don't like to pigeonhole myself. I never want to be a photographer who likes the look of something, but doesn't shoot or publish it because, you know, it doesn't fit with their style. Beautiful composition here. We have the main subject, which is this lovely grouping of birch trees. Got all the leaves on. They're just starting to change. We've got a nice transition of green through to yellow. 2-second timer. And I think it's a pleasing image, very colourful image. And it seems to work even though we don't have any light. As per usual, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're watching this video and you're new to the channel and you're enjoying the content so far, just subscribe, go on. Just do it. It makes such a big difference to the channel if you can subscribe, especially if you're watching, you know, maybe this is your second or third video. Yeah, because I'm always, this is it. This is the channel, pretty much what you're seeing. So, yeah. Right, okay, here's the image. Thanks for your patience. So I'll have to apologise for the abrupt switch, which was that beautiful hillside where we had those yellow birch trees and the stone wall, to this, which essentially is a lakeside. Let me just tell you, I have had a technical mare. The amount of footage that I have filmed between then and now that is useless because there's no audio, because either I've forgot to switch this mic on, or it switched itself off, which is what I think happened. But yeah, anyway, so a lot to tell you. I've met up with James Bell, Lakeland photographer, great guy. And where I met him, which is about a mile down this lake, there was just the most beautiful scene as the light was just kissing all of the landscape. And it was one of those moments where you know that it's fleeting. You know, I knew that light wasn't going to last more than 2 minutes. So, grabbed the camera, the Phase One, which I'm shooting with now. I decided to switch it up this afternoon. Grabbed the Phase One, and got the shot, and I tried to film it, but there's no audio, so it didn't work. So I guess I'm telling you about it now, but that was a very fleeting moment, so it wouldn't have been the best piece of video anyway. So I'll pop that image on screen and then we'll move on to where we are now and talk a little bit about what we're shooting, which I think is just fantastic. So yeah, It's all go here in the Lake District. So the scene I'm shooting now might not work out. Let me just put that out there before we get too excited. But basically I've got this IQ4 and it has movements on the back. I don't know if you saw last week's video where I shot with this camera and tried it out. But anyway, the rear of the camera, you can shift it up and down, left or right, so you can adjust your composition. You know, you can fine tune your composition in the camera. Well, we have this beautiful scene, and what first got my attention here is this old tree stump. Where is it? That old tree stump. Beautiful, dark, textured wood with this vibrant green and yellow autumnal grass growing all around it. And I thought that was beautiful, but then when you look at the fells in the background there, the fells catching the evening light is a joy, absolute pleasure. And we have a beautiful sky. So we've got all these ingredients to make an image. We have this really interesting foreground, and then we have this fantastic background. So the way in which I'm trying to compose all of this is, rather than put on the wide angle lens, which I think would be too wide because I can almost get it in but not quite, I'm using the rear movements of the camera. And to add to the complexity of the image, I'm focus stacking as well. So I took one image of the tree stump where the top of the image is cut off, and I focused on the tree stump and took the image. I then moved the back of the camera up to get the top half of the image, refocused on the distant fells and took an image. Now, I don't know if it's going to work. It might look a bit odd if the foreground is focused, the background is focused, but the midground is a bit soft. I'm not sure. 150 megapixels might give too much away. I don't know. But I thought I would give it a go anyway because it was such a beautiful scene. And, you know, the light's gone now. Luckily, we've already shot it. Yeah, this afternoon just feels like it's been frantic, but I really hope this image works. And if it does, the amount of detail that you're going to see in the image should be incredible.
At this image, at first glance it looks fine, and that's because you're looking at a relatively small file made for YouTube. But actually, when you look at a large version of this image, or if you were to see it in print, you would notice some peculiar goings on with the focus, just as I mentioned in the field. And that's because I only stacked two images. The light was moving so fast and I was concentrating on my composition, the movements of an unfamiliar camera. So I went for the most simple and, well, ineffective technique, which was focus on one subject, move the camera, focus on the next subject. I should have taken an image focusing on the midground, which is where the pebbles meet the water. This is the part of the image that looks bizarre because we have a beautifully sharp and detailed trunk with these lovely green grasses, and then it slowly begins to fall out of focus. And then you look up, yet the background pulls straight back into focus. And I guess my saving grace here is the water. The water, you cannot tell if it's sharp or soft. So this water acts as a barrier and kind of makes it forgivable. But I do feel like if a teacher in my school was marking this image, they would write, "Must try harder."
So I guess you guys will have seen if that image worked out or not. At the minute, my confidence is at about 13%. I think 150 megapixels is too much to stack two images when one focal point is like 5 feet from the camera and the other focal point is about half a mile from the camera. So I think it's going to look odd, but it was fun doing anyway. I would love to give my book and calendar a plug. Those calendars, they're almost gone. So if you want the last ones, I'll leave a link in the description. Of course, I have my book available. If you're watching this video for the first time, or you've seen a couple of my videos and somehow you found yourself back here, hey, why not subscribe? That's a massive help. And of course, let me know your comments on my photography in the description below. I'm always curious. Well, in fact, not curious, I need that feedback. I love the feedback on the images, because some images I love, you guys don't. Some images I don't love, and it turns out you guys really like them. So it's important that I get that feedback. So thank you to anybody who comments. And that is it. We are going to end it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, bye for now.